The old gods may be great, but they are neither kind nor merciful. They are fickle and unsteady as moonlight on water, or shadows in the storm. V.E. Schwab. The fantasy genre has always been a setting that has many people looking at it through rose-tinted glasses. However, is it even a setting that is capable of being anything but horrifying? In these worlds of make-believe, exist horrifying creatures, people, kings, and importantly, gods. In pieces of media like Berserk, we can see horrifying degeneracy of a world from divine intervention. However, that spawns from just one god. What if it was a world with intervention from many gods? One so riddled with divine intervention, cults, and religion that it took over our daily lives. This is a setting for our next analog horror, one some of you might know very well, Holy Fool. In this video, we won't cover all the entries just because they have like 100 videos or so. So I'll be leaving out just a few videos the creator made, and a few videos I just don't believe add lore or context. I will most likely be splitting this into parts, so stay tuned. I digress. Without further ado, this is Holy Fool. The Known Gods. In the first episode in the classic series of Holy Fool, we are met with a title, The Known Gods. In this video, the narrator goes over the various gods known to us, at least at the start of the series. First it goes over real-world gods such as the Abrahamic god Yahweh, Vishnu, Anubis, and Zeus. Following, it states what it calls the Forgotten Gods, which are Rugal the Wrathful, the Hungering One, a god with a distorted name, and the Baleful Queen. The narrator, after saying these names, goes on to say, "Please direct your worship to them, so that you may be saved from the resentment." Right off the bat, this video opens up to a lot of questions like, who are these gods? Why did we forget them? And what does the resentment even entail? Another question that enters my mind when watching this is, what did the gods have to do to remain known? And what do they have to do to put down the forgotten? Did they even put down the forgotten gods? Not enough is given in this video to make any hasty theories or conclusions, but it gives us enough to be curious about. But even still, it's not enough. How to summon Rugal the Wrathful. In the second video in the series, we are introduced to the theme of the video, how to summon Rugal the Wrathful, which is one of the gods previously mentioned. Why can this god even be summoned? And more importantly, what morality level is this deity even on? First, we get our first step. Venture into the desert on a night where the North Star burns bright. Travel with a heart of anger and resentment. Then, we must approach the obelisk, the one we see in the distance, and begin to pray this prayer. Almighty Rugal, crush those who stand before me. Drive my enemies to the brink and offer mercy to none. Our third step is to point our hands to the heavens, the one that bears the sigil of the Wrathful at least, and then meditate. Meditate until we receive a state of gnosis. Step 4. Sit before the obelisk and begin to scream. It tells us to scream with rage and anger and to not stop screaming until our lungs burst from exhaustion, and only then will the Wrathful One answer our call. And should he even deem us worthy, we will feel the ground begin to distort, feel him invade our mind, with our sanity fading every fleeting moment. This video is eerie, to say the least, but it offers just a little bit of clarity on this god, and maybe a little bit on some of the other gods mentioned before. This god is clearly an evil deity with a moral compass aligned with her favorite mass murderer. The fact it takes over your mind could mean a few things, like it takes over your body in return for taking care of your problems. Kind of like an old devil dealing Faustian bargain kind of thing. It could also mean he's giving you a power in exchange for your sanity. Regardless, this deity clearly is not good. He is clearly evil no matter how you look at it, at least in the classic sense of deities. This video does make you wonder what his connection to the North Star and the obelisk are, and why this god even does these bargains in the first place. The reasoning behind the motives for these humans seeking him and the deity himself are just not known to us yet. How to summon the Baleful Queen. In the fourth video in the series, we are introduced to the Baleful Queen and how to summon her. The video continues like the previous video, like in the list format. First, to begin this summoning, you must fall in love with a renowned warrior. Then, you must spend many years growing an intimate relationship. Once this is done, you must build an altar atop a cliff, overlooking the stars to the Baleful Queen. Every evening in solitude, pray to the Queen this prayer: She who loathes, she who deceives, she who meddles, and she who spites, answer my prayer. After doing this, one night you must lead your lover to the altar and sacrifice him. And the more betrayal and sadness he feels, the more likely the Queen will answer you. Once the Queen answers you, she will grant you a wish of your choosing. This video is cryptic, just like the last one was. Clearly there is a pattern of summoning gods to interfere in the worldly, but always with great cost. The Queen, just like Rugal, chooses to degrade your mind just in another way, making you kill your actual lover. This video doesn't explain a few things, such as how to build her altar, what it means by renowned warrior, and what type of blessing she will grant you. Regardless, a picture of this universe is starting to become very clear. It's one of magic, sacrifice, and clearly chaos. Kind of similar to a certain game franchise I'm thinking of. Maybe one called Dark Souls? How to summon the Hungry One. This is the fifth video in the installment. This video opens the same as the last, except this one is a bit more like a proper ritual. The video opens up, how to summon the Hungry One. It begins to list its steps. Find an isolated location, like an abandoned forest, cathedral, or abyssal cave. It tells us we must draw his sigil, and then place on the ground 3 things: honey, a gold coin, and the remains of a starved animal. These items all have various meanings, but the interesting one is the starved animal remains. After, you must chant his invocation. It goes as follows: Nashi Maru Vinith Theo. Hungry One, arise from the abyss of yearning. The Hungry One will rise from the mist. And if he chooses the honey, you shall be spared. If he chooses the coin, he will give you good fortune at the cost of your own soul. And if he chooses the remains, he will take your body from you to use as his own. These videos all for some reason have a common theme, and it's to further some type of plan on the mortal realm. And it's frustrating because the creator doesn't give us any information yet on why these beings want to be free on the mortal realm so badly. I suppose though, a better question is, why do people want to summon these deities? The beings bring them great anguish at the cost of some fortune, some minuscule fortune. But the cost or bargain for these things aren't really comparable. And you're just left wondering, why? How to seek an audience with, redacted, the Infernal Eye. This is the last video on how to meet our original cast for the Forgotten Gods. This god opens up with how to seek an audience with distorted noise when saying his name, and then it says its pseudonym, the Infernal Eye. First off, the distorted noise is interesting because it means that we can't listen or hear his name, which is awfully cryptic for a god, at least one that wants interaction with humans. This already opens questions like, why can't even the narrator say his name? And is this entity a god like the others? And if so, is he already on Earth? Our first step is to consume the psychic of the Infernal Eye, which can be made by a master alchemist. Next, we must fall asleep into a dreamless slumber. After we awaken in the astral plane of existence, next, you will encounter 2 goblin-like creatures, which will ask us a rather cryptic poem.
In the shadow of time, where stars forget to shine, I slumber beneath a veil of infinite night, With eyes unseen I whisper truths entwined, yet to seek my name is to forfeit the light. What am I?
I believe this poem will also give us a clue to what the deity is. This poem, in my opinion, is talking about a black hole. It kind of matches the art used in the video, and it matches the description used in the poem. Following, we will meet a merchant who will supply us for our journey. Then we will have to slay a mothly abomination that stands in our way, or so says the narrator. Continuing on, it says we will have to survive the pilgrimage through the desert of Yondo. And in the picture of the desert, it shows us the sun finally. It's a deep red, a black sun that almost looks like an eye staring back at us. Once we reach the edge of the desert, we find a hovel, and once there, we enter to receive our audience with a god. At the end of the video, it shows us the god, who repeats at us, "The infernal eye purifies all," over and over again. This entire video was more confusing than the last. The journey to meet the god is also a lot more tedious than the others. I mean, first we have to procure a potion, one of the highest level, one only a high level alchemist can even make, and even then we have to enter a realm called the astral plane of existence. The entire video leaves questions after question, just like the videos before it, without any answers. The questions left by the other videos also leave no answers. They're all just as cryptic. This video shows us a new plane of existence you can only access through dreams. It shows us a god who we can only assume has a fiery black hole for a head. And to top it all off, what is the purpose of even meeting with this god? Perhaps he's like the rest and gives us some Faustian bargain, but the problem with that is, what does he give us? Will he purify our beings, or possibly purify us? I suppose we just don't know for now. Fun things to do at Grandma's house. This is the 7th video in the series. This video opens up to a grandma-like voice telling us fun things to do at Grandma's house, with a comforting voice and peaceful music playing. It starts off normal, listing things like making cookies, reading peaceful books by the fire, but quickly it devolves into morbid occult activities, like when she says, "Pray at the abyssal altar of Zaldabator," which, if you remember, isn't one of the original gods mentioned in the first video. The video quickly cuts back to play cards with the grandma, and just as sudden cuts back to feed the creature, and then practice crocheting, and then visit the neighbor, and then tend the garden, then welcome visitors, then enter the portal. If there's one thing that this video makes clear, it's that magic and magical creatures are part of this world's daily life. Something that appears to be integrated through peaceful means, but also through forceful means. I conclude this from the malicious gods, but also from the art depicted in the video, such as the neighbors, the creature, and this new god that we're praying to. It just all seems so ominous. I get the feeling from this video that the grandma puts on a facade, yet poorly hides the danger mentioned in the video. This video shows us one more thing, however, and it's that humans can use magic. The 5 human senses. With the 8th video in the series, we're introduced to the magical abilities of humans we just recently discovered. A narrator presents them in list form, just like the other videos. And they go as follow: smelling, taste, hearing, touch, and sight. And then he proceeds to list us the advanced senses. Forgive me if I mispronounce these. Dragling, Hierophane, Paylute, Limbrel, and Rondor. In the comments, the creator liked a comment that lists these, and they also provide a description of the senses, such as Drangling, perceiving adimensional energies, Hierophane, endless cognition, Paylute, feeling other living things corporally, Limbrel, traveling through dreams, and Rondor, receiving signals from outer space. Judging from this interaction, I think it's safe to assume these are the proper definitions of these. All these words spawn from Greek and old languages, which makes it hard to pinpoint exactly what the original message was for these names. So we'll just go with this original comment for right now. Following the listing of these senses, the narrator says to contact them if you or anyone you know has awakened any of the advanced senses, so that they can help you hone and control them. Doing this will allow you to expand your consciousness and commune with entities beyond typical understanding. This last bit is huge. It's just the piece of the puzzle we were needing. This entire time we were looking for this. This piece of the puzzle puts everything together. It puts together why we forgot the gods, why we're searching for them, why we want them, why the humans freely integrated with these horrific creatures. It's because we ourselves have magic, and through this, we can become entities akin to gods. The gods that we mentioned early on are ones that we can access with our magic, and in doing so, can help us hone our magic and give us power. This small piece of the pie finally gives us enough to mold together our coherent story in a world to build a setting. The thing about these first introductory videos is we're not given a whole lot to go off of. The creator gives us just enough to see a setting, yet keeps us in the dark at the same time. The setting of an occult-riddled fantasy world filled with magic and evil deities leaves us with more questions than answers. The main question I'm left with after these first 9 videos are, who are these gods? Why do they want to influence Earth so bad? Why do humans have magical senses only some can access? And most importantly, what the hell has happened to make these worlds divert off such a different path from our own? We know they have some connection to our world due to the fact that they have the same real world gods as us, but the fact that magic is so widely used and known in this world leads me to believe that some catastrophic event happened, like in The Witcher, where the conjunction of the spheres happened. In the end, we're left with confusion on these things. Confusion on beings who are clearly all quite demented, but the question is, for what reason are they so demented? This series so far is quite fun to watch. It's given me that sense of curiosity I received from Angel Engine, but it added a fantastical twist to it, which I believe is amazing. I know I only did the first 9 videos in this series, and believe me, we've only scratched the surface, and there will be more videos, especially since we're right on the brink of the Black Star videos. Regardless, I will leave you all with food for thought for now. Are the forgotten gods forgotten due to their own will? Or are they forgotten because others wanted them to be?